Penguin Random House Audio presents The Lost Chapters, Finding Recovery and Renewal, one book at a time. This is the author, Leslie Schwartz. For my family, we stand at the prow again of a small ship, and for beautiful Quanique. Prologue. One day, as I was crawling along the 10 freeway heading to Santa Monica, I heard an amazing story on the radio. In 1980, a 31-year-old Somali man, Mohammed Baroud, wrote a letter complaining about the appalling conditions of his local hospital. At that time, Somalia was ruled by a military dictator named Siad Barre. When Barre's government saw the letter, Baroud was sentenced to life in prison. His charge? Treason. He was arrested and incarcerated 3 months after his wedding to his beloved partner, Ismahan. Like countless others, Baroud was sentenced to prison for his words. While in prison, Baroud was not allowed to speak to anyone. He paced his tiny cell all day and night, feeling like he was losing his mind. Aware that the government was pressuring the spouses of the imprisoned to divorce their husbands, Baroud began to imagine his wife out there making love to other men, enjoying life to the fullest. The urge to kill himself presented itself with a force he never could have imagined. And soon the nightmares came, that he would attempt suicide and at the last moment of consciousness, he'd realize he'd made a mistake. Then one day he heard a tap on the wall. It was from another prisoner in the cell next to him, Dr. Adan Abakor. Abakor was a doctor who worked at the hospital that Baroud had complained about. Abakor, knowing that Baroud was probably losing his mind, taught him the alphabet as a series of knocks and claps on the wall. I was trying to counsel him, Abakor said. I explained to him through the wall that he's not going to go mad and he's not going to die. So they began to talk by knocks and claps. The letter A equaled 1 tap, B 2, and so on. Then one day, as Abakor was getting a change of clothes, his first in 2 years, a guard transporting him back to his cell gave him a book. Abakor began to read that book to Baroud through the wall. The book, Anna Karenina. 800 pages, 350,000 words, 2 million letters, knocked and clapped into Baroud's ears, one letter at a time. It was that book that allowed Baroud to find his salvation. He began to see, through the character of Anna, that not only was he suffering, but so too was his wife. It helped me to survive, Baroud said. You realize you cannot concentrate on yourself. Then you realize I'm not alone in this very difficult situation. After 8 years, Baroud was freed into a different Somalia than the one under which he'd been imprisoned, a country now torn apart by civil war. He found Ismahan in a refugee camp. Despite the government's pressure to divorce her husband, her resolve to stay married won out, and they are still married to this day. Baroud says the book and the act of Abakor, reading it to him, saved not only his life, but the love he had for Ismahan. On January 12, 2014, I was sentenced to 90 days in Century Regional Detention Facility, Los Angeles County Jail, for charges relating to driving drunk. I'd committed my offenses while in a 414-day relapse from double-digit years of sobriety. During that year and 7 weeks, I was in a chronic state of blackout. I had fallen so profoundly into the mental illness that accompanies alcoholism that I was no longer able to work. I lost every job I had as a freelance writer and writing teacher. My family eventually moved away. My friends, no longer able to help me, left. I was totally alone. Even the dog was scared of me. She hid in the closet while I stumbled through the empty house. I can only explain my decision to drink again in this way. I had found myself stuck in sobriety. My spirit felt dry and depressed. I couldn't see any way out of a sense of confusion and unhappiness that had come on when I turned 50. There weren't any crises. There wasn't any one reason. I was just sad, isolated, and lonely. So I drank. That's what alcoholics without a solution do. You could say that one drink led me all the way to Century Regional Detention Facility, known in the vernacular as Linwood. Of those 90 days, I would serve half the time, minus 8 days for time served previously as per California's sentencing laws, 37 days. Obviously, compared to Baroud and the countless number of human beings in jails and prisons throughout the world, I did only a breath of time, and, unlike Baroud, I had committed a real crime. But incarceration isn't even appropriate for animals. The experience of being caged was soul-crushing. Some days, the shame and loneliness I felt was so bad, I'd have to check out mentally. By the time I had accepted a plea bargain, I was 6 months sober, something people usually celebrate. But my experience, which was colored by the inequitable outcomes of a broken and corrupt criminal system, put a daily weight on that hard-won sobriety. I was finished with drugs and alcohol, but like Baroud, I hadn't yet ruled out the thought of taking my own life. Living through this experience exposed me to new levels of human cruelty. During my time, I saw ghastly things. I saw deputies fuck women in the day room bathroom in exchange for drugs, so imperious they made little effort to hide it. On September 14th, 2017, a 10-year veteran of the LA County Sheriff's Department named Giancarlo Scotti was arrested for oral copulation and rape under color of authority at Linwood. There are so many more like him who will never be arrested. I saw women being beaten for keeping extra hair ties in their cells. I saw women who'd been raped in the streets being forced to suffer the lingering hands of male guards searching them for contraband in their bras and crotches. One day I saw a deputy, pissed off for no apparent reason, take away a woman's court-sanctioned extra mattress. She had a disability. "You're a fat slob," he told her. "You don't need this. You need to get off your fat ass." I watched countless times as human beings failed us in jail, over and over again with shattering cruelty. But like Baroud, it was literature that saved me. The books that I had requested from family and friends and that arrived new from the bookstore every week were the balm to my endless hurt. Those precious stories, priceless gifts, restored me. They brought me back from the shock and hopelessness I'd experienced from my massive case of self-destruction and the grim consequences that followed. In jail, I was allowed to receive 3 books a week from the outside. Over the course of my 6 weeks of incarceration, I managed to receive 21 books, 3 over the limit, which gives me some satisfaction. I love that 3 extra books, which might have earned me a stay in the hole, got past those sadistic guards who scorned the rules themselves when they opened our mail and arbitrarily decided whether we would get it on any given day. Often I would see my books sitting on the deputy's counter for days, as if to taunt me. There was no measure to the fury and impotence I felt at being tortured like that. All told, between the books sent to me by friends and family and those I read that were left behind by other inmates, I read about a book a day during my incarceration. I have always been a voracious reader, but my lapse from sobriety had extinguished that side of me. My experience at Linwood reignited my love for books in a way that was visceral, elemental. While reading, I was able to forget, for just a little while, the shame I had about destroying my life by taking that one drink. They united me with people. One such book brought me to the person who changed my life forever. 2 books in particular forged a friendship that shouldn't have happened and wouldn't have anywhere else on earth. Another eased me into myself, then pushed me away from myself so that I found my freedom. Not all the books I received had a lasting impact on me, or changed my perceptions of my life and the awfulness of my situation, but a surprising number not only enlightened me, they transformed me in ways that would permanently change me. Strangely, too, each one of those books that reconstructed my worldview magically, coincidentally, arrived unbidden at precisely the moment I needed it. It was as if a wizard conducted the exact delivery of each book so that it exactly matched the challenge I was currently experiencing. Like Baroud, who learned from Anna Karenina that in love there is suffering, each book I received had a destiny. Each taught me what I needed.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?